How's it going, guys? It's Prod here, and it's been a while since I've done a Naruto related video. With that being said, you guys should drop a like. It will let me know if you guys like this type of videos, and it will encourage me to make more. Also, don't forget to comment your thoughts down below. I love having Naruto conversations with other people. So now, with that all being said and done, we can get into the topic of today's video, which is Sage Mode. But more importantly, who in the new generation will have Sage Mode and be able to perfect it? With all the crazy stuff that's happening in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, with the Otsutsuki and the Ten Tails all coming back around, people are going to need a power up to even contend with this. So what better power up, and a pretty nice and easy one to get, than Sage Mode? Something that is not connected to the Ten Tails or Otsutsuki at all. So for today, I have a small list of people who I think will be able to get Sage Mode, and I started off from the least likely to the most likely. Now, I know what you guys are all thinking. It's Boruto's show. Of course, he's probably going to be #1 at the top. He's a genius. He's Naruto's son, Minato's grandson, and both of these guys who are already perfect Sage. Of course, Boruto is in the running for #1. And if you were thinking this, well, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to disagree, because I don't think Boruto is at the top for having Sage Mode and perfecting it. In fact, I'm putting him at the very bottom because we're starting off with him. So the reason I don't think Boruto can get Sage Mode and perfect it is not because he's not able to do it himself. Like, he's a genius. He already has shown capabilities of learning the Flying Raijin, perfecting Rasengan, making variant different versions of the Rasengan, some of them subconsciously, and of just overall being a new Minato with a little bit of Naruto personality. And we all know how Minato was just a flex god and can just easily do Sage Mode, even though he just didn't like to do it. So of course, Boruto seems like he should be a perfect candidate for learning Sage Mode. In fact, Boruto has a Jiraiya clone that is training him and teaching him all the ways of like commanding the Toad, and obviously he knows Sage Mode. So obviously he'll try to pass it down to Boruto. But there's a problem with this. The problem being that we actually have enough evidence to prove that Boruto shouldn't be able to use Sage Mode. And that evidence is Naruto. Just like how Boruto is mentally comparable to Minato, Boruto is also like physically comparable to Naruto in the same vein that they share a body with somebody else. Someone that doesn't always have their best interest at heart. At least for Naruto, originally that was the case. See, when Naruto first got Sage Mode, he was able to use jutsus that were forbidden to him, that he couldn't use without Sage Mode because he just wasn't strong enough to use his massive reserves of chakra. But with Sage Mode, that fixed everything, and it put him on a whole nother tier in and of itself. But then he got Kyuubi Mode after that, and he came to the realization that he couldn't combine Kyuubi Mode with Sage Mode. And at first, when this became apparent, he figured that this was just because opposing energies couldn't intermingle. But later on in the war, we come to find out that the real reason that Naruto couldn't use Sage Mode is because Kurama just didn't like frogs. Kurama hated frogs, so he didn't allow his chakra to touch Sage Mode or the Toad Sage chakra. He didn't like how they were slimy and nasty. He just didn't like frogs. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that he kind of hated them more than he hated Naruto. Because again, Naruto can use Kyuubi Mode, albeit a little bit forcefully from Kurama at first, but he still can activate Sage Mode because Kurama was that adamant about it. And Boruto's having the same problem. Now, I know that it seems like it's different because Momoshiki is not the same as Kurama, but they are technically the same type of creatures. Kurama is nothing but a split off from Kage, and Kage is an Otsutsuki. And even then, Kurama had enough power or enough will to not allow Naruto to enter Sage Mode while he's using Kyuubi Mode. And this was only Kurama at half power. So this was half of a ninth of an Otsutsuki saying no to Sage Mode while the owner of the body was trying to access it. Momoshiki is a full Otsutsuki. And unlike Kurama, Momoshiki has no reason to go along with Boruto. Kurama eventually went to the side of good because Naruto was just that great of a person and he talked no jutsu all the way up. And Kurama, at the end of the day, was just a misunderstood beast. He was never truly a bad person. He was just treated badly all his life, so that just built resentment. Momoshiki is not that. Momoshiki, in layman terms, is just an asshole. He is a straight up villain. There is very little way that I can see that Momoshiki will actually side with Boruto. In fact, Momoshiki is still going against Boruto and has more control over Boruto's body than what Kuruma did in Naruto's body. We actually have examples of this when in Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, the manga, during the last chapters, Momoshiki straight up took over Boruto's body. This was only for a small moment in time, but that was to further Momoshiki's goal. This probably used up a lot of Momoshiki's energy, and he couldn't take over Boruto's body again after that, at least not immediately, and it was very short because again, Boruto was relatively fine, and he wasn't low on chakra like he's been during most of the times he's been taken over, but nonetheless, Momoshiki was able to exert control over Boruto's body. So with all of this evidence, all I can say is that every time that Boruto would try to activate Sage Mode, Momoshiki can easily mess it up for Boruto, making it almost impossible for Sage Mode to even be a factor. This probably was frustrating during the training arc that Boruto had behind the scenes, but nonetheless, there's no way that Boruto should be able to enter Sage Mode as long as Momoshiki has a smidgen of control over Boruto's body. So this is why Boruto is at the bottom of the list for Sage Mode. Even though it goes against all beliefs on paper, when you look at all the facts and look at the past history of things, it should be impossible for Boruto to even enter Sage Mode, let alone master it. So for all those reasons, Boruto's in the 5th spot for learning and mastering Sage Mode. Next up is Mitsuki. Now, I know this is also pretty controversial. Mitsuki already has Sage Mode to a degree, and he already has Sage Transformation, and he can combine the two. However, Mitsuki has problems with Sage Mode. See, in order to actually use Sage Mode, you have to have the body to use it. Your body has to be able to endure the insane strain that Sage Mode can put upon you. This is why Orochimaru, even with all of his science and studies, could never actually enter Sage Mode and was always obsessed with having a perfect body. Mitsuki is in the same boat relatively. See, when Mitsuki uses Sage Mode, and especially when he stacks it with his Sage Transformation, his body starts to deteriorate rapidly. Like, even his auto healing is nullified and he just starts to almost crumble as a person. And he has to rest for several days while his insane healing abilities kicks into overdrive just to keep him alive. Now, as the years went on, in the manga and in the anime, Momoshiki has gotten better at using Sage Mode and Sage Transformation at the same time. He's able to use it longer and the side effects isn't as severe, but they're still there. And he hasn't necessarily gotten stronger with it, which tells me that he's not a perfect sage. Even Boruto has no problems fighting him. This could all change as chapters go along, but so far he hasn't progressed that much. He seems to be kind of mentally handicapped, and as we all know, being mentally handicapped is detrimental to your growth, especially in Naruto. And Mitsuki definitely seems to be down and together and doesn't really know what he's fighting for. So he's definitely missing the mental aspects, and his body can barely keep up with his transformations as it is, which, as we see in the chapters, probably the reason why he hasn't grown that much. Now again, he is fighting Boruto, so that is what that is. Boruto shouldn't have this much of a leap against Mitsuki, especially with Boruto not using any real advanced techniques and truly not struggling in the fight that they actually had. So for this reason, even though Mitsuki technically has the skill sets to become a great sage, he definitely has not shown it, and there is reason to believe that he has pretty much hit the cap of what it means to be a perfect sage. But all in all, he's more likely to get it than Boruto, so he gets the 4th spot. Next up, we have this will be a huge shock to you guys, Konohamaru. Konohamaru is in the 3rd spot for Sage Mode. Look, part of this, truthfully, is because I think he will have the best Sage Mode of all time. And this is solely due to the fact that he has monkey summons. Look, it's about time that we have the Sage equal to the heavens, alright? In all seriousness, it makes the most sense for me story-wise that Konohamaru will be like a god tier sage. I mean, think about it. His inspiration is technically teacher in a sense, Naruto, was a perfect sage, and he gains a lot of information from Naruto. Like, this dude has a lot of Naruto skill sets, clones for Shingans, and like aspirations and wants. So he's closer to Naruto, not chakra-wise obviously, but like ideal wise than Boruto is. That's just what that is. And also, Konohamaru's clan is a pretty good clan. Like, we have the 3rd Hokage Hiruzen, who has the nickname Professor because he has mastered every technique in the village. Apparently, we haven't seen this, but allegedly he has mastered every technique in the village. And he was also trained by the Senjus like Tobirama and I think also Hashirama. Or bare minimum, Tobirama trained Hiruzen. And Hiruzen grew up around Hashirama, and it's not 100% confirmed, and we don't really see it in the anime, but it is speculated that Hiruzen's family was very close to the Senjus and was not in the same way rivals like the Uzumakis and the Uchihas, but they're like a cut below, which again, we see in the anime, Hiruzen lives up to that, and Asuma kind of lives up to that. In fact, they had to write Asuma off in a very contrived way by saying the only way that you can kill this man is with his own attacks. So all in all, Konohamaru's family has shown insane greatness, and unlike with Mitsuki, Konohamaru actually has like a will to like get insanely stronger. At first you would have thought, hey, Konohamaru would have got stronger once finding out that Naruto has passed and wanting revenge, but after seeing the insane gap, it's not hard to reason that, yeah, he kind of just left it to his presumed student and the son of the Hokage to take revenge, especially since Kawaki, the Hokage's son, is league stronger than Konohamaru as it is. So it makes sense why Konohamaru hasn't improved that much and hasn't taken training to such a high degree, because he probably trusts in his student, especially with the memories that he has. He knows that the Hokage's son can live up to his promises and expectation. But now Konohamaru actually has a stake in the game. One of his best friends and girl that he probably had a crush on was turned into a tree, and now she's going to show up at some point to fight Konohamaru. How else can Konohamaru actually fight for his loved ones if he doesn't have the power to actually back it up? The only way that I can see Konohamaru getting stronger is with Sage Mode. Now, as I said before, being a monkey sage would be amazing. He could literally be the sage equal to the heavens. Like, think about that. Thematically, it fits well, and that's mostly the reason I put him in the third spot. He could have been lower, but again, I feel like he can have the most insane growth. Story wise, he has more reason to get Sage Mode and to follow in the footsteps of his mentors, and it's the only other power up that he can possibly obtain in relative time. I mean, he can't get the Rinnegan, he can't get 6 paths, he can't get any other dojutsu. Sage Mode is all he has that he could possibly get, and again, Boruto can't get it. So it makes sense for Koshin to probably pass it down to Naruto's student instead of Naruto's son. And again, the monkey sage would just be amazing. But sadly, even though I kind of want him in the first spot because monkey sage is just that great, having a son Wukong and Naruto would just be amazing. Even though I want all of that, he's in the third spot because if these other two people get Sage Mode, he would never ever touch them. All because if they get Sage Mode, it would be too much, and both for similar reasons. So the second person that is most likely to get Sage Mode is Sarada Uchiha. Now, there's not a lot of people that has had Sage Mode and also a dojutsu at the same time, and that's mostly because that would be insane. Even Sasuke didn't get Sage Mode. He got 6 past powers, but it wasn't Sage Mode, if you know what I mean. It's similar, but it's not the same, and I can get into that, but we're not going to get into that right now. What you guys need to know is if Sarada was to get Sage Mode, she would be a completely different beast. She already has shown insane prowess with her Sharingan that at her age has far and gone surpassed Sasuke and even Madara when they were younger. But we already know that depending on the Sharingan's development gives you extra benefits when it comes to fighting. Sasuke and Madara's Sharingan was the Choco Tomoe, and that allowed them to react and perceive things at a higher level than regular Sharingan, especially in linear close range fighting. Meaning that even though Sasuke was probably fighting someone 2 times or 3 times faster, he can still square up with them with relative ease, literally because of his Sharingan. Even though other Sharingan users will probably have a hard time squaring up with that person. Like, let's say for example, a Rock Lee. Sasuke can fight Rock Lee with relative ease because of his specific Sharingan, built up over the years of fighting people that was just vastly superior to him in speed and skill. Again, example, Rock Lee. Sarada has had the same experience for the most part. She has been fighting people way above her league and has been using her Sharingan to her advantages and figuring out ways with her Sharingan to beat them and to analyze and pinpoint your weaknesses. We've seen this a couple of times with her fights that she's been able to, and she's been the reason why some of these guys have won their fights is because she has used her Sharingan in that exact way, focusing in on fighting weaknesses instead of just copying abilities or whatever. And now she has a Mangekyou Sharingan. Now, we all know that the Mangekyou Sharingan has the possibility of giving you 2 abilities, one in either eye, or you can have the same abilities in both eyes, but they do slightly different things, like Kamui. In one eye, Kamui is able to do long range distance and is more offensive than defense. In the other eye, is short range, but is more defensive and in my opinion, just way better. And then when they're together, the speed of activating them enhances greatly. Sarada has her Mangekyou Sharingan. She could possibly have 2 abilities, but she can also have 1 ability. Because she has 2 Sharingans, she can use both abilities insanely fast, just the way like Sasuke can use Amaterasu insanely fast and also control the flames when he had both his Sharingans. If he has Sage Mode to all of this, not only is she a good candidate to get Sage Mode, because like unlike Mitsuki and unlike Konohamaru, she has a strong body due to being the daughter of Sakura. So her physical specs will only get more monstrous, which again, she's already pretty much a monster physically anyway. You add a 10 times amp of the Sage Mode with that, it would become even more ridiculous. And again, this kind of fits story-wise because even though she has the Sharingan and she has the Mangekyou Sharingan, she might need an extra power just to be able to compete with, well, 10 Tails Rinnegan people. Sarada is far behind. Even with her Mangekyou power-up, I don't see how it will be easy for her to catch up and even continue with fighting her 10 Tail version dad. For all of these reasons, Sage Mode and the Sharingan in conjunction with each other is almost the second coming of the Sage of the Six Paths. I mean, we've seen what Sage Mode plus the Sharingan has done for a lot of people, Boruto and Madara specifically, but we also know what it's like for Hagoromo. It puts you a whole league above everybody else, which would be just what Sarada needs to be on even playing field. Just saying, this would be easy for her. So those are kind of my reasons for why she is number 2. Now, number 1 on this spot is kind of the same reason as Sarada, except even more so. For we have a lot of build up leading to this moment where there's something strange going on with the number 1 contender, and that is Himari Uzumaki. Even in the previous manga, Himari, towards the end of it, was speculated to have something super special with her. I made a video about this earlier, about how weird and potentially strong she is, mostly because of Damon's feedback and how he saw no one as even close to his level, and it still looks like he sees nobody close to his level. Even with all these strong contenders, he still seems like he's unbothered by all these people. But there's always that one scene that makes me think there is something up with Himari. And it's the scene that made Damon actually show actual interest and wanted to actually fight somebody. Like, take the initiative to fight them instead of being reactive to them. He was even confused when he found out that Himari isn't actually that strong. It seemed like his senses was off. At the same time, he is proven that he's at a god level status without training, with the way that he is beaten cold. And now, in the latest chapter, Himari is also being targeted by the 10-tailed people for her energy that resembles Biju energy, meaning that she has some Biju energy in her, remnants of the 9 tails. Damon saw something in Himari that he has not seen in anyone else, including people that actually have 10 tails energy. It was enough to make him think that she was on par with him, if not close enough to the point where he can actually enjoy a fight. That alone has me thinking that she is kind of like the Gohan of the Naruto version. For those who do know, you know, but for those who don't know, Gohan is pretty much the Saiyan with unlimited potential in Dragon Ball. Even though he does show signs of being weak at times because he isn't a fighter like that, all it takes is him getting angry and him training even a little bit to be on par with god level threats or people that he has no reason to fight him, because he is just that guy. Similar to Broly, but you know, passive. And that's what Himari reminds me of, which is why if Himari ever gets Sage Mode, not only do I think she could get it, I think she can master it pretty easily, almost instantly. And that's because everything that Himari has done has been almost prodigy level stat. Even in comparison to Boruto, she is the top of her class and she has shown that she is well above the cut of the rest. And she truly only loses out to people that are like years older than her and are supposed to be in Boruto's league because they're from his class. And she's training with them because she's that strong that she can train with them. I think she's just that level of prodigy. So Sage Mode being combined with her Biju powers and also her Byakugan, which I don't know if you guys have noticed, in the manga and in the anime, her Byakugan is different than everybody else's. Like, and she also goes kind of in a different headspace when she's using her Byakugan, especially if she's angry, which again gives me the feeling of Gohan, the saying that can always be the best if they want it to be. So it's not as cool as, you know, having Mangekyou powers and the Sage Mode, and 1000% not as cool as being the Monkey Sage. But going off the context clues alone, if Himari got Sage Mode, well, she just ain't getting touched. And that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Very much appreciate it. You can comment your thoughts and your opinions down below. You can say I'm crazy or whatever, but hey, I'm showing you what I'm working with here. But I do know one thing for sure is that I'm kind of looking forward to the next chapter. I hope you guys are too. Boruto seems to be doing pretty well now. If they add Monkey Sage, they get a 10 out of 10 from me. That's all I wanted to say. So see you guys later. Peace.